Hello, anyone there? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there you are. Okay, cool.
Everything is perfect.
Okay, great.
See, everything behind you is perfectly arranged, alphabetical.
Thank you. I work hard on that.
No, it clearly looks like it's ready for prime time.
Yes. Yeah, so am I. I just haven't gotten there yet. So we're just waiting on Beverly and Cathy. So it'll be the four of us today. We're up against our TLIs over the next few meetings. So we're just going to meet online, virtual, just like you, John Paul.
Yes, now you will experience what it is like.
It's a good experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be doing this for the next couple weeks, and then we've got a couple people that said they would pop in and out as the schedules allow during the TLI today.
Uh-huh.
Let's see how that works. I think it would be fun if they figured out a way to pop in and out so they can show other people at TLI that, you know, our club does this. So especially if they pop in during table topics or something, I think that would be interesting.
Yes, we need to get a way to advertise and to make this a truly virtual club or a more virtual club.
Well, we're limited by our charter on how many members can be virtual only.
Okay. What
have to change our charter to do that, but it's certainly something worth discussing.
Yeah, because this is an advanced club, right?
Correct.
Based on how many advanced clubs are there in the area where you're based?
In our area, there's only one other advanced club, and they meet at the same time we meet.
Okay.
So, which is a good thing because we don't conflict with each other per se. You know, and if someone wants to join, you know, you only got one set of dates and one set of time, so it's just a matter of which club do you want to join. But they don't do online like we do, so we just need to get more into the advertising part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which we've been up against the calendar because we've been planning a president's open house for months, but we ran up against the holidays, and then we're running up against the TLIs, so it's not going to be in now contests. So it looks like it may not be until March before we can have an open house. And the idea behind that is that we invite all the presidents in our entire district to join in on an open house virtually.
Good idea.
And then be word of mouth to their clubs about what we offer.
How about also looking at the people who recently achieved, say, level 2 or CC or higher?
Good point.
That information is available. Okay,
so would I just get that from our club growth director?
Well, you can actually see it on a report. There's a report. You will probably not have the email contact details, but maybe you can find those people on Facebook, or you know them. But it is. Let me tell you where it is.
Is it on Toastmasters International?
Yes, but let me go to their daily reports. Toastmasters daily reports, educational achievements, current year. And here it is.
Are you in Leadership Central? Are you in Club Central?
No, I get here via our district page, but it actually goes to a Toastmasters International page.
Yeah, but the link is on ours. Okay, so
let me.
So how did you get there? You're on District 48, and then where did you go?
Well, I go in District 46. I don't know if District 48 has the same, but
Okay,
it's
District 46.
.org.
Okay, I'm there.
And then on the right-hand side, you see TI links.
Hold on a second. It's taking a minute to load for me for some reason. Doesn't want to load. Can't be, the site can't, district48.org.
No, District 46. That's
Yeah,
where I'm
what I
based.
meant. That's what I meant. Okay. Yeah, it's not loading for some reason.
Oh.
Hold on, let me get out and get back in. ORG. Toastmasters. Oh, it's Toastmasters46.org. Okay, that's what it was.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So go under TI links
And
go.
then daily Toastmasters reports.
Okay.
And there you see educational achievements current year.
Okay. I'm there.
And then you get to the TI, then it refers you to TI reports.
Okay, so I can change to District 48.
Yes.
Okay. I'm there. So I would be looking for anything with a 2 or above, I guess.
Yes. Or a CL or a ACB.
And these, okay. Okay, I see. So what I'm going to do is take this and drop it into a spreadsheet, and then I can just sort it from that. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I will sort through that and see if I can't get some assistance connecting the dots. John Paul, phenomenal idea.
Yes. That should work for advanced clubs.
Yes. Okay, that's a great campaign to get started and increase our guests pretty darn quickly. That's an exciting project. Thank you. Cathy, welcome. Welcome. Nice to see you. I can't hear you. Hi, Beverly. Nice to see you.
Hi, Lauren. Laurean. Cathy.
Oh my God, you sound like Minnie Mouse. You sound like a chipmunk. I should record this so you can hear it. Okay, now you sound normal.
For some reason, it goes to some setting, and then when I don't know if it's anyway, I got to figure it out
Go
now.
back to the other setting and sing "All I Want for Christmas Is a Plane That Loops the Loop."
Yeah,
It's funny.
I've been told that before. It's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, what setting do I have to switch?
Okay, well, at least you know which one it is. So did you bring enough grape jam to share with all of us?
Well, actually, I do. This is probably, if I actually looked on it and if I could see it, 2008 or 9 that
Oh,
it's dated. It's never been opened.
is
But
it some kind of an award or something?
No, the story behind this is when I had my financial planning practice, 2008, I think. I poked myself in the eye this morning, so one of them's really blurry.
Oh,
2008. But the story is when I had my financial planning practice, one of the, I don't know, trainers or speakers or whatever, brought to our attention that Smucker's is the only company that fills their jars all the way up to the top. And it's a marketing thing because they also want to say, hey, we provide more value than every other jam company that's out there. And so I used to have it sitting on my financial planning table when I'd meet with clients and say, I want to provide you lots of value.
you know, along those lines, when I used to have to really watch my pennies on my household budget, and we had just moved to Florida, and we stuck to a budget. We did the envelope method for a few years just to make sure we were on track. And when we moved out here from Florida, there's all these new grocery stores. You don't know who's the cheapest or who's the best. And just because they say they're the cheapest doesn't mean they're the cheapest.
Right.
So we did this exercise for a couple months where we made a list of all the things that we commonly buy and the sizes we prefer them in that were in our pantry already. And then we went to every store and we price compared by the packaged ounce. And we did that for deodorant. We did that for shampoo. We did that for macaroni and cheese. We did that for everything. And what we discovered is that even though they have the same size container, and so for Walmart, who I know because I used to be a client, packages their stuff specifically for Walmart, the Procter & Gamble does, they'll actually put less product in it to say that it's a cheaper product. And so you go price by, and so what we found was that Target ounce for ounce was actually the cheapest, second to Costco on household items. So it was very, and the most expensive at the time was places like Save-A-Lot, Winn-Dixie, you know, all these cheaper groceries actually ended up being ounce for ounce more expensive.
Yeah, and yet the consumer mindset that is they're saving a lot or whatever at these places, and that's people typically who can't even afford to spend more.
Yeah, and that's what makes me upset about the dollar store, because they were actually one of the most expensive. They would charge, say, $1 for something that had fewer ounces and a lesser percentage of active ingredient, right? And sell it for $1 when you can get something more powerful and more ounces for 88 cents somewhere else.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Yes, exactly.
You can't bamboozle America, right? People are so subjective to suggestions.
Yes, will you be able to allow me to share my screen when it's my turn to give my speech?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
I think you can just do it
Okay.
when it's time. Which, okay. It's 10:30 and we're all here, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. I don't know how I do that. So we're going to go ahead and call the meeting in order. All 4 members that I'm expecting to be here are here. So welcome to our first full virtual club meeting of 2020. Now we do most of our officer meetings virtually, but this is the first time we've intentionally done a virtual meeting for the club. We'll be doing it again next week as well, because we are up against the TLIs. So we're going to be, and so we've got Jeanette and Parveen who said they're going to try to pop in and out, which I think while they're at the Tampa TLI, I think that would be good marketing for our club if people see them jumping into an online advanced club meeting. My hope, as I told Jean Paul, is that they jump in during table topics. So we can put them on the spot and participate in table topics while they're remote. So we'll see how it works out over the next I don't imagine our meeting will run very long. We've got one speaker today. We've got Cathy, and that's it. And then we have table topics. So I imagine we'll have everybody participating in table topics. So at this time, shoot, we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I got a picture of the flag on my computer. Hold on, let me pull that up so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Beverly, I can only see the top of your hair.
That's good.
Oh, now I can see your eyeballs, but no mouth. It's like that one TV show where the guy only peeks over the fence. I can't remember what that is.
The flag. There's no flag. I thought I had the flag on my computer. Do you have a flag, Cathy?
I do have a physical one here. Let me just grab it.
Perfect. Okay. Everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done. Well done. Okay, at this time we have a couple that we need to be filled. We've got, for the general evaluation, we're going to do a group evaluation at the end. Our grammarian today is Beverly. We'll come back to Beverly to present us our word of the day. We need a timer and an awe counter. So I can do timer.
I can be our counter.
Okay. Perfect. And then Jean Paul will be Cathy's evaluator when Cathy does her speech. And then Jean Paul will lead us through table topics here toward the end. So that is our roles for the day. Beverly, why don't you get us started with our word of the day?
Well, I'm finding it right now.
We only see the top of your head, like Cathy said.
That's fine. Forgive me.
It's so cute.
Can you adjust it? Or
I can get it up.
Okay, we can. At least there's eye contact.
Yes.
Hand contact.
Body language too. Yes.
I think contact would be a good word. Contact. You can contact people with eyes, hands, ears, mentally, physically. I am in contact with all of you today.
All right.
Simple.
So I assume we have a Toastmaster.
Me. Jean Paul, you're in New York, right?
That's right.
You're getting spring-like weather up there?
Yeah, it's just in the kind of 40 degrees now.
Okay, well that's good.
Yes.
That's not frigid.
No.
I'll be in New York next week. I hope it warms up.
Bring the warm weather, please.
We don't have any.
I know it's cold, been cold here.
Yeah, we just got through a cold snap. We got all the way down to, I think, 32 degrees last week. As our low, our highs are staying in the 60s though. Which is cold for us. When we have to throw on a sweater, you know it's cold. And John Paul's like going, what are you talking about? Wear 2 sweaters every single day. Beverly, how are you coming along with that word?
Oh, she already did it. It's contact.
Oh, it's contact.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I thought we were waiting on her. Okay. And what is it? Was there a definition or a use for it? Did I miss it?
Yes, you missed it.
Okay.
Contact, you can make contact several ways. Mentally, physically, spiritually. I can see you, I can touch you. And with some people, you make contact by smelling them, which is not always pleasant.
Okay.
Contact can be a good experience or a bad experience.
Gotcha. Contact. Okay, my fault for not hearing that. Thank you, Beverly. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm the timer. I've got these cards on my computer. Actually, let's see, what can I use? I got green, red, and yellow. Green, red, and yellow. Okay. All right, that's what I'll use. Okay, that's what we use. All right, I think we have everything we need to go ahead and start. We don't really have a theme of the day other than just enjoying our virtual online meeting. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our first speaker, our only speaker of the day, Cathy. I don't have an introduction for you, so would you like to introduce yourself before jumping into your speech?
I guess I can. Thank you. I should have did a bio or something like that, an introduction, but I got lazy, I guess. So most of you know me at this point. I am doing level 1 project in the dynamic leadership path. I am on the research and presenting project, and it's to be 5 to 7 minutes. And it could be on a topic that I know about or don't know about, but something, if I know about it, it's something that I wanted to go deeper on and be able to show my research capabilities. And I have given John Paul the evaluation form. I emailed that to him, so he has that. And yeah, the title of my speech, John Paul, do you want to give that?
I know that money is part of the title. Money, exclamation mark. Well, let me find the form. So where was it? Money, what the research shows. Money,
Yes.
what the research shows. Cathy Norris.
Thank you, John Paul. Thank you. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I will be sharing some bits of information on what money research shows, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
All right. All right. Fantastic. That's a good first step. So my project here is on dynamic leadership, and one of the passions that I have is on financial issues, because I had become a financial planner during my journey of life, and that was sprung board from my dad pretty much on his deathbed saying to me, don't do what I did. And I kind of had to deduce why he said that to me. And it was because he didn't do a good job at saving his money and planning for his future. And he was also a small business owner. So I have a huge passion around this topic, but I wanted to do a little bit deeper digging on this topic and find some resources that had current data on this topic. So today, what you will learn is the definition of what's called financial well-being. You will also learn what some financial well-being research facts, and I'd like to introduce to you a cash flow management system that I believe works for people if they implement it. And so those are the three things that I'll try to cover in this 5 to 7 minute talk today. So let's start off with financial well-being. And I want to make this interactive, so I'm going to see if I can back that up. What is financial well-being to each of you? Who would like to go first?
Let me go first, Jan Paul.
Sure.
I think financial well-being is that you can sleep at night. You know that you can weather some relatively large storms.
Okay. Anybody else have a definition that they want to add? Laurean?
I think it's beyond just weathering some storms. I think it's also being financially independent, where you're in debt to nobody and you're financially free to do whatever you want to do, whatever that is. For each person it's different, but for some people it's being able to live independently financially without having to owe anybody anything.
Great. Beverly, would you like to add anything?
Just paid and money in the bank.
All right. So what I found out by doing some research, and the source that I used is indicated down here at the bottom of the slide, is from the consumerfinance.gov website. A few years ago, Congress instituted what's called the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection, Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection. And they were tasked with protecting consumers from financial products that weren't being truthful and the providers of them and things like that, as well as to provide financial education to people. So they came up with the definition of what financial well-being is by describing it as everything that you guys said. In their sentence, they condensed it to a sense of financial security and financial freedom of choice in the present and the future. And specifically, they drilled down on it meaning the control, being able to have control over the day-to-day and month-to-month personal finances, and the capacity to absorb what they called financial shocks. And all of this is tied to having the financial skills and the confidence in using those skills. So financial well-being is actually a feeling that people have that's tied to their confidence in being able to have the right information and the skills to use that information. And you can feel free to check on this further research by clicking on that link. And if you'd like the slide afterward, I'd be happy to provide that. The next thing that I wanted to share was financial well-being, some facts that I found. According to the federalreserve.gov website, 56% of adults today say they are better off financially than their parents were. And 40% of Americans back in 2013, according to the Federal Reserve, reported that they would cover an emergency expense by turning to credit. Thankfully, the research shows that that has improved significantly, that people now have a lot more savings to cover that expense, but a lot of people are still behind the 8 ball. So with that being said, another couple of facts that I found during my research, one came from Gallup, and the resource is down at the bottom. And it seems to me that I used the internet to source most of my research because it's got such a great vast of thing instead of having encyclopedias to pull off the wall. But financial well-being initiatives can improve performance according to Gallup. And then they also had a study where it found that about a quarter of companies have or are building financial wellness programs for their employees. with that being said, personal cash flow management that works is based on my own research when I developed or had my financial planning practice. And so I came up with this concept to help my clients develop a better cash flow management system for themselves. Now, I could make this a little bit easier, but you're going to see a lot of stuff pop up on the slide, but I'm going to try to break it in small bits. Net income is your after-tax income, and then we're going to come up with monthly expenses. And so I list a bunch of monthly expenses here that can typically fall in there. Some people might not think of these monthly expenses, like saving for a house down payment or kids' education. And wow, I have the red sign already. I'm going to be going over to finish this up. So with that being said, there's some of these expenses that people would say, oh, I got to have money to pay my bills. And this is monthly expenses, what is typically what people are referring to when they say pay my bills. However, as a financial planner, when I was working with my clients, I often discovered this wasn't all of their expenses. And I use this to help them to see that. So if you want to buy a house in the future, you have to have some midterm savings, and it's a good thing to save that on a regular basis as a house down payment or kids' education, a next car, you might have a roof. Then we have that long-term savings need. And so I used to put this up at the top, or I did put this up at the top. A rule of thumb was to do long-term savings about 10% of your net income. Then we come up with a total of that, and my slide's not working. What we're missing is I adjusted this morning and I didn't test it before I did, so I have a learning curve there. Uh-oh. So at the bottom there, what should have showed at the total of monthly expenses was a number. And then, so I'll have to fix this. Over here on the right-hand side, what we came up with was periodic expenses. So these are a list of some periodic expenses that could come up for some of my clients. And you can see there's a lot of periodic things that can come up. And if people didn't set these money aside for these, they would oftentimes call them emergency expenses. And some of them might be included in their monthly expenses depending upon their knowledge base, but most oftentimes they didn't think of everything. But we come up to an example of, let's say these periodic expenses add up to $12,000 a year. I used to teach my clients that divide that number by 12 for 12 months, and we get an estimated monthly periodic expense of $1,000. Well, that's a lot in somebody's cash flow. So my teaching to my clients is let's bring that over and add it on to the monthly expense column. So let's say in February, just by chance you don't have any periodic expenses come up, you at least now are accounting for those monthly expenses by putting that into a separate bank account. So let's say you estimated periodic expense for car maintenance, oil, tires, that in your guess, and you guessed it at estimated that's $500, but it actually came at $900. Well, my clients also needed to plan to have that extra $400 because they typically might not estimate correctly. So we would add on another number that worked in their cash flow to set aside for cash reserves and their future needs and goals. And I advise them to set that up in another separate bank account, especially if it's not charging them a fee from that bank to have that account. So overall, I said these are must-have accounts, including that checking or operating account that we should have. And with that, if people would follow this kind of a system, they would have a better flow of their finances. And I also had two other pieces of advice that I would give. Up here, there is no such thing as an unexpected expense. We have conditioned our society to say, oh, we have an emergency expense. Well, you know what? Sometimes we treat anything and everything as an emergency. And the fact is there is no such thing as an unexpected expense. And the reason I have this belief is because I know that we will always have increasing costs. I know that I might not always account for everything, but it's just because I haven't had the awareness or the knowledge of it. So it's really about an expense being, I don't know how much it's going to be, what it's going to be for, or how much. It's not that it's unexpected. The other thing that I would also help my clients with is looking at their tax withholding, because if they got a large refund during the year, a lot of them use that as their saving for their cash reserve. And I would advise them to go to the irs.gov website, because they have a withholding calculator that they could use in order to adjust their withholding. And so that way, I used to say the IRS stands for not Internal Revenue Service, but I'm really sorry, because when they hold your money, they don't give you any interest for it. So I'm really sorry is what the IRS really stands for. And we don't want to overpay in our taxes. Well, that is a quick flow of personal cash flow money management that can work. And so today we took you through the example of a definition of financial well-being, some research facts, and a cash flow management system that works. Oh, the time went so fast.
So shall I start with my evaluation? Great. I am very happy that I could hear the speech this morning. I think that Cathy is made a good impression. I would listen to her. If she was still in the business of financial advisor, I would go to her based on this speech, because she made things clear. She was down to earth, and she made an impression that she knew what she was talking about. I was impressed at the beginning with the technology, the fact that it started so easily. We could all see the slides, the clarity of the slides. However, there was a little, I think, Cathy, if there was one suggestion to focus on, is not to be distracted. You're there to give your speech about the subject matter. If you're embarrassed along the way about something not working, nobody will really know what the slide was supposed to do. And if you're caught because of time, don't reference the time or anything like that. I think you did that twice.
Yeah.
There is no real reason for the audience members who are glued to we're all ears. We want to have you finish. We don't. If you're not boring, we don't care about the time. Okay. If it is logically structured, we don't care that the red card has gone up. So don't be distracted. Okay. You're there. You own the stage. You just deliver the speech. But back to the good parts of the technology and the slides. I thought, especially initially, and the structure of saying, this is what I'm going to show you, and then ending with those slides, wrapping it up, excellent. When it came to the concept, I love the structure. I learned something about how to think about expenses. And I'm in finance. My day job is finance, but I love the way how you built those things, and that it's very useful. You had a lot of detail there. Maybe you could have had 2 slides of saying that, or 2 different levels of bringing in the details. One just saying, for instance, you could say, these are expenses, monthly expenses, and then regular expenses with examples. Things that kind of just paying your phone bill and your groceries, everybody would have in, but here are other things that people might forget. So just break it down like that. Okay. And then as an appendix for other people, you can have a list of all of those that you can say, these are the additional pieces of information. But all in all, I thought this was very clear. You did research. When we came to research, you kind of, I don't know why you referenced that online versus encyclopedia. You just show your resources or your sources. We can judge that. I don't think the focus of your speech is to defend your sources, because you already have a good storyline. But all in all, a very engaging speech. It was wonderful to listen to it. Great resources, the slides. They worked. The fact that you built up the slides step by step. It was wonderful to listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Are we going to do the minute evaluations from everyone?
Sure. Beverly, you want to go first?
Sure. Excuse me one moment.
Bless you.
Cathy, I wish I'd had this information back about 50 years ago. Your speech flowed. John Paul, you took a lot of what I was going to say, so I'll just say ditto. What I do remember in the notes I took, even at my advanced age, I'm going to start to put some of those things in practice. So when I depart this earth, my finances will not be such a mess to my children. But thank you very much for this wonderful educational information.
Oh, thank you.
Cathy, I always enjoy a good financial discussion. I enjoy learning the parts about money that I don't already know, or to being refreshed on old topics. So I appreciate you going through some of that. I liked some of the words that you used: absorb shocks, confidence, control over choice. I thought those were pretty powerful words. To tighten up your speech, though, to stick within the challenge of a time constraint, you spent a lot of time teeing up to what turned out to be your ultimate epiphany in your speech, which was how most people overlook estimated periodic expenses. That seemed to be that. So if we had cut you off at the 6 minutes, we would never have gotten to that point. So in future speeches, I'd like to see you kind of bring it in sooner, the concept a little bit sooner, so you don't get blindsided, because part of one of the challenges of Toastmaster timed speeches is to get your point across in the time you're allowed to get it across. And not that we don't enjoy letting you speak over because of the nature of our club and that you're a really good speaker, but the personal challenge for you is to get your point across in the time allotted. So your main point was, don't overlook those estimated periodic expenses, because they're not emergencies. So if you plan for them, you won't have a financial emergency because you're always prepared. And that would give the self-assurance John Paul was looking for, and that I have, that you have, that others that we know have, that going, okay, life can bring to me what it can because I can handle what it brings to me. Therefore, I feel confident and I can enjoy my life and I can have more peace in my life. So I think there's a way that you can tighten it up. And I also, on a second note, if you don't mind me saying something, I know how you always like to do that interactive because you're into the workshopping and engaging and all that kind of stuff. But when you're given such a short amount of time, don't give complete control over to the audience, because that's where you lost most of your time. Right. So when you're short on time like you were, a simple show of hands would have given you the sense of engagement that you're looking for, because you were looking for acknowledgement that people are hearing, that they're paying attention, that they're engaged with. So you could just say, have you ever felt like X? Have you ever experienced Y? And expect all hands or no hands to go up and move on regardless of how many hands show up in the room. So you can do that. And then when you do that, you have more control over how much time you're giving to the audience.
Great. Thank you for that.
Especially on a short time frame.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, but great speech. Great speech. I liked it. I like the graphics. I like the little money guy in the background.
I literally was freaking out this week because I hadn't started putting my PowerPoint together. So I got up at 5:30 this morning and put the whole thing together.
You did good. You did good. It was a perfect.
I had the cash flow management one done, but the other stuff I was like, what colors? I'm like, oh, I had never done that a PowerPoint that said what I was going to talk about and then closed with that. So yay!
And John Paul was absolutely right. The colors that you chose, they were vibrant. So the contrast in the colors made it easy to read, but they were vibrant on the eyes, which opens up the eyes and engages people to stay in it. So the colors were a phenomenal choice, especially since it was a financial speech.
Thank you.
So good job, Cathy. Good job. All right, at this time, we're going to turn it back over to Jean-Paul as our topics master and let him lead us through a round. And I think all of us, including Jean-Paul, can participate in table topics today.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just back from vacation and I have revisited places that I've been to before, but I experienced it completely new. And I was wondering, why was this so special this time around? So I had been to Vienna before in Austria. And this time, why I enjoyed Vienna, because every morning I went to the same place for breakfast. That's what I decided. That's what made Vienna special. It felt like I was home. I had my own favorite table, or the waiter recognized me. That's how I experienced it. I want to ask you, and let's start with Beverly. I nominate you because you're not on mute. Tell us about a vacation where a food experience was the highlight.
The what experience?
The food experience, that you came home and said, wow, that steakhouse or that buffet or whatever, or that cuisine, that was great. Or my mom's food, that's what I remember. You know, that's what you talk about. Tell us about a vacation where food was the highlight.
Well, there's never really been a vacation that food has been the highlight. But I do have a place that I hope to go to this summer. It's Big Sur, California. I found this half-paved road, and it had a little inlet, a dirt inlet. So I went there, and that was my chill spot. When I go there this summer, I plan to go back there because so much of my life has changed, and I'm very curious to see if that same spot will have the same effect on me. I want to make contact with what's happened to me because so much has happened to me. Hopefully I'll find the same sense of security and peace, and hopefully I can do some vision work while I'm out there. All I know is that I love the Big Sur area with Monterey and Carmel, and I'm really looking forward to my summer trip. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. I don't know if we give feedback this time about table topics like we've done before, but I like your structure. I liked how calm you were and that it really flowed. That's my feedback, either as a table topics master or just a round robin. Do we do round robin or not? Just no. Okay. All right. So my next question is, and Laurean, this is for you. So I attended a Toastmasters meeting in Vienna. And for the first time ever in my life, I did table topics in German I have high school German. Tell us about an experience that you've had attending another Toastmasters club that was special to you.
Okay. When my daughter started college over here, we moved into a house across the street from the college because she doesn't drive. And when she started in there, she wanted to join a Toastmasters club, and the college has a Toastmasters club. So my daughter and I, who is now 23, I think she was 21 at the time, we went to this particular Toastmasters club at the college, and we went in there together, and we sat together, and we really, I felt like she was appreciating something that I was a part of. She didn't join the meeting, but she did feel a part of it. She did participate in the meeting. They called on her for her thoughts, and I remember having goosebumps on her observations of the meeting, how impressive they were, how insightful they were. And I'm sitting there going, who is this woman? And she's my daughter? I could not have felt so much more pride as I did in that moment, listening to my daughter participate. I was just completely overwhelmed with joy and pride at sharing a Toastmaster experience with my daughter.
Wow. Again, a wonderful story, touching. We all, it's as if we were there with you. And it's wonderful that other people also experience that. Yes. Cathy, question for you, and you're on mute. Yes.
Not now.
No. Okay. So to get to far away places, especially when they're over an ocean, nowadays, most people take a flight. However, when you do calculations, an airplane is not the most environmentally friendly type of transportation. Are you going to do something differently now that you're more aware of airplanes? Are you changing your travel plans? Are you going to take a cruise to Europe from now on, or take the train up to New York rather than flying? How are you going to experience transportation in the future?
Flying to me is about efficiency. And this is going to really challenge me. This question is challenging me, John Paul, because I like efficiency so much that I want to get to my destination in the shortest amount of time. So you must have read articles about the fuel that gets used in airplanes, and what that does to our environment that I'm not aware of compared to a train or a cruise ship. Now, with a cruise ship, that one is hard for me to really think about doing, because I would envision that I'm going on vacation with my husband. And so far, he is not really of the mindset to appreciate cruises. He feels like he's locked in and for too long of a period of time. Even though I know we can stop at islands or places along the way, if we're going across the big pine, it's going to take some time. So you've really challenged my thinking if I'm going to do an alternate way of transportation to my destinations, because I also look at it being a time efficiency thing. And so I have taken train trips on vacations, like in Whistler, British Columbia, Canada. We took a train trip that was beautiful, but it was also very noisy. So it took away some of the pleasure of the train trip. But the sights were beautiful. We couldn't see that otherwise. So I am challenged by which I'm really going to do. But I do know the food that I loved most on the trip that I took internationally was in Bali at the Clear Cafe. We went back there 3 or 4 times during our vacation.
Oh, well, thank you. You ended with a food angle. I haven't been to Bali yet, but I'll touch base with you when I go there.
Ubud, that was the best restaurant food I've ever had. And it was cheap.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. Okay, so who has a question for me? You would have seen there's a theme of vacation or travel.
Okay, here's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, themes of vacations and travel. I'm going to steal one from what Cathy just did this theme a couple months ago in the club. So stealing from some of her questions. You are an apparent world traveler. You've gone to a lot of amazing places. Cathy and I are also well traveled. We have both gone to amazing places. Where is a place that you would love to go on this planet or not that none of us have been to before? And describe it to us.
Just repeat the last part, that none of us?
Yeah, that we've never been to, and describe it to us.
Oh. I think there are a few places that I'd still like to go to for the architecture. Timbuktu. We use the term Timbuktu as a place out of nowhere. I've actually looked it up on the map. So I know how to get there by plane and then probably by 4x4 SUV. So this is in West Africa, central West Africa, so far away from the ocean. So even if you were to take a cruise ship, you'd still have to have some land transportation. And the architecture is very simple in the sense that they don't have skyscrapers. The tallest building, I think, is 2 stories high, because everything is made of clay. So everything fits very nicely into nature. It's not like a big city and glitter and glamour like we have in the middle of Vegas. Like it's also in kind of the desert. It really fits into nature. Unfortunately, nowadays, there are some soldiers there that protect this place from nasty people, from terrorists. So I don't know when I'll get there. I hope things will calm down. I hope we can all arrange a real meeting, not even a virtual meeting, with all of us, Order of Smedley, there one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Now that concludes table topics. Back to our Toastmaster of the day, Laurean.
You're muted.
What I was saying was 90% of communication is body language and not so much verbal, so I can be muted and still get my point across.
You still make contact.
Exactly. I can see you. All right, let's go ahead and go into our tag team reports. And let's start with, our general evaluators, all of us. So we'll skip that and come back to all of us at the end. So our grammarian, Beverly, how did we do with our words today?
For the most part, excellent. Cathy, in your presentation, you had a problem with deeper digging or digging deeper. And I noticed that just flared up at me. I also heard ums, ands, ers. That's one thing that I really try to guard against for myself, because that was a favorite crutch of mine. Everyone else, even you, Cathy, in table topics, we did excellent. And I used content one time. And that is my report.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for being our grammarian today. Timer report. Okie dokie. Well, I think we all know how our speaker did today. Would our speaker like to guess what her final time was? Jean-Paul.
9 minutes something. More? 10, 11, 12, 15.
12:35, lady.
12:35. Oh, okay. I'm not going to ask you guys to participate anymore. Sorry.
At least not in a 5 to 7.
Right.
All right, table topics. Beverly, you slid right on past the green with a minute 10.
I did it.
You did it. Laurean was right in the middle at exactly 1:30. Cathy was at an impressive 1:55.
Ooh.
And then John Paul was at, what was John Paul at?
I think it was about 1:15 or one. I cleared it already.
Yeah, I didn't see the yellow and I didn't see the red. So he's somewhere in between green and yellow. John, Paul, whatever her phone is set on, you're between green and yellow. So you were perfect. And that's the timer report. All right, let's move on to our odd counter. Jean Paul, how much did we just tear apart our crutch words?
Yeah, Beverly already mentioned some of the crutch words that she heard, and I thought we did fairly well. In addition to the obviously the person that spoke the most, Cathy today, she had the most, but all in all, I don't think on average per minute we did that badly. So I'll leave that to. I think we can all go home with a yellow star today, or whatever, a silver star.
So gold star.
Gold star.
All right, gold stars for everybody. Now for our group general evaluation. So let's do a round robin. We're at 11:18, so if we finish in 11 minutes, then we'll be right under an hour. So let's go through a round robin on how well you thought this first ever virtual meeting of the Order Smedley went. Who would like to go first? Beverly?
Lauren, is that your hand up?
Yeah, Beverly. I'm pointing at you, Beverly.
Oh, I'm over here. For our first ever round robin virtual meeting, I think it was excellent. This will be a good marketing tool, I believe, as we can offer this as a unique opportunity to people to join. But like myself, I have driving restrictions. I can still be part of the meeting, even though I can't be there physically. I am there. I am here. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like I'm included. I'm not excluded. And that means a lot to people. And that is my comments.
Okay, fantastic. Cathy.
Yes, I think it was a great experience. It goes along really well with some of the projects that are in the different pathways as well, when you have to do webinars and those kind of things that are in some of the paths. It's also going to be a great tool, just getting used to this different online format, which is kind of the way of the world, and being able to expand to New York without having to get into an airplane was phenomenal. And wasting all that precious energy, right? So I love this format. I like when we do the in person as well, that combination, but super.
Jean Paul?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I never felt that I was not part of the meeting. I felt that everybody paid attention. We were not distracted. And the technology worked. Great job.
That's a good one. I'm impressed with how smoothly the meeting ran. It just kind of ran. I kind of printed off the sign-up sheet as my agenda for the day since we didn't get one from our secretary, and it worked fine. The meeting ran very, very smoothly. Everyone had multiple roles to fill today. Well, no, Cathy was just a speaker today. And
I did table topics too, so.
you did. So everyone had, well, along those lines, everyone had multiple roles, even though there's only 4 of us. It felt like there was more than 4 in this meeting since we were all very much participating. We're encouraging of each other. Looks like everybody was having a good time. There's a lot of smiles. It looks like there was some learning that was done as well in the spirit of learning. I think the whole meeting as a whole ran, I think, more efficiently than in person, since there's not a lot of walking around and moving and doing all this other stuff. And I'm not out of breath at the end of the meeting. So I really, really enjoyed this virtual meeting. I think there's a lot of opportunity available to us by doing it this way. I think I'm looking forward to our next one. So going with announcements, the first announcement is our next meeting, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, will also be virtual because it goes against the Clearwater TLI. So that will be on February 8th, will be our next meeting. The only TLI that does not conflict with a Smedley meeting is February 22nd in Fort Myers. I will be going to that one so I can keep 100% attendance at Smedley, which is my priority. So if anybody wants to drive down to Fort Myers with me, there's 3 more seats in my car. So we could do, have a good time going down there. It is quite a drive. They're down at exit 135. So that's about a 2-hour drive from here. So there's plenty of time to have a good time on the way. The next announcement is April 4th, right? Saturday, April 4th is the area contest. I am the contest chair for that one. So anybody wants to, well, Cathy, not you, but Beverly, well, John Paul, not you. Beverly, if you would like to volunteer, let me know. We're looking for functionaries. I think you would be a good ballot counter in that regard. Now,
where is it?
It's going to be at the Pasco Realtor place.
I'll have to see if I can drive that far.
Well, you can always ride with me. So we're only a couple blocks away. Now, as far as our contest is tentatively scheduled for March 14th. I got a phone call from Zan yesterday indicating that as much as he would love to compete at the club level, his classes conflict with the April 4th contest date. So even if he won at the club level, he wouldn't be able to advance to the area. So he's leaving it up to the club to decide how we would like to proceed. So let me lay this out very carefully. At this point, he is the only contestant for evaluation. So since he cannot advance right now, we don't have a contestant for evaluation. Now, international. We only have 2 contestants for international. We have Zan and we have Cathy. Now, with the small club, and I mapped it out, we can have a contest if our members all take a functionary role and we use guest judges. Now, I've already started marketing for judges around our district to invite remote judges because they can judge remotely and work with the chief, just as I'm asking Jean-Paul and Beverly to be remote timers for the contest. Everyone can communicate with the chief judge through text message and send in pictures of their forms. So that would work really, really well. And we would need guest ballot counters. So with that, we could hold a contest and have a contest. And I think I'm on the fence about it. So I'm going to throw it to you guys. Here's what I'm on the fence about. I think it would be an interesting contest to show how technology can broaden our reach and create a larger contest. Knowing Cathy's the only one that's going to proceed on. On the downside, I think it's a lot of work for only one person advancing on, but I think it might be worth the work. I think it might be worth the effort. We haven't had a contest yet this year, so I think it would be an interesting exercise. So I'll leave it up to you guys to talk it out.
I think it's a good way. It's kind of like an open house if you invite people, if you have a reason to invite people. Of course, only having one speaker, and we probably want two speakers at least, so that it's a real contest where the judging would make a difference. So I suggest going ahead, get external people and get them, and maybe even invite people strategically. So people who could be potential members, that they get to know the vibe of the club, how it operates through this event. It's my suggestion.
So just to be clear, because this is a district club, that's a physical district, that is why John Paul could not participate if he wanted to?
He can compete at the club level. Jean Paul can most definitely compete at the club level. He can't advance because area, division, and district have to be competed in person.
Okay. So he would have to be willing to.
He can compete. He can compete in the club, and he can win in the club. Only he couldn't advance.
Unless I see a plane.
Unless he goes.
That's what I was gonna say. Get on your plane or get in the car or on the train.
So John Paul, if you want to do that, we can do a GoFundMe and get you a plane ticket down here if you'd like.
Or he can save his periodic expenses. And
I'm sorry, I don't mean to exclude you, John Paul.
Do you have any interest in being part of the club contest, John Paul?
Not this time round, no. But thank you for even offering a GoFundMe. I really feel that I'm included now.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Beverly,
what interesting thought, John Paul, if you would like to compete.
Well, this year, no. I think I'm going to be running for club growth director here.
That has nothing to do with competing in a club contest on a date that's already on your calendar.
No, but actually I'm district PR manager now. So I'm not allowed to. Well, yeah, not in your district. Yes, not in 48. So I don't know.
That excludes you from competing?
It includes me from competing here, for sure, in 46.
Yeah, I don't think it excludes you from here, though.
Yeah. No, yes, but at the moment, I'm not planning to fly down.
Yeah, but you can compete what I'm saying is you can compete in the club contest remotely.
Okay, that's an interesting concept. Okay.
Yeah. You want to think about that?
What day is it?
So it'll be March 14th, Saturday, March 14th. It's our first March meeting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At the moment, I think I'm available.
Yeah. So
So then he could compete, and if he wins but can't do April, then it would default to the next person, right?
well, it's going to default to you regardless, Kathy. So, but at least in the
I'm not planning
club,
to come down.
club, he
I'm
can
planning to
still
win.
compete. We can still not have you win, Kathy, and you still go on.
All right.
But it would be pretty cool if you earned the right to beat you beat any other qualified contestant.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know you're competitive, so I think that would be fun.
I got to have the bar raised, right?
Exactly.
Get better.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Now,
why don't
Paul, are
you
you throwing your hat in the ring?
Yes.
Yay!
for which one? Evaluation and or international?
How about both?
Well, you know what? I can step up and do both too then.
Okay, because you're going to end up having to represent us at both, Cathy. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is.
And that is just because you, Jeanette, and Parveen are all part of the district trio or whatever you call it.
No, we're the conference chairs.
Conference
We're
chair.
excluded. We can't even do a presentation. So I can't even do a workshop. So we can't compete. So when I look at the list of people at who can, Beverly has physical restrictions on advancing, so that excludes her. Brenda seems to have disappeared on us altogether. Zan has a calendar date, so that only leaves you.
All right. But at least John Paul will make me earn the right.
Yes, and I think that would be the fun part.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys willing to do the work for that?
Yeah, I think we're willing to do the work. We're willing to do the work for that. If we have excited contestants who want to compete and want to move on, I think it's the club's duty to do our part.
So I have a question. Is there a difference because I know the international speech is, typically when you advance and even at the area, it's physical. So do we need to be able to present our speech standing up and like it was a stage, or do it like a webinar?
Well, I think you're going to have to do it standing up, whether you're in person or remote. I think you need to set it up that you're standing and speaking. And at the area, division, and district, you're standing at all of those in the stage area.
Right.
So I think when you're competing, even Jean-Paul competing, I would imagine Cathy and Zan would be in person, but Jean-Paul, I would expect you to set it up so that you're standing.
So we're gonna have the actual meeting that day at the hospital?
Yeah, we'll still be at the hospital.
Okay.
We'll still be at the hospital.
Can you do that, John Paul?
Stand up?
Yeah.
Speak while standing.
I've done it before. I don't know what it would look like on camera, though.
You could practice.
Yes, we'll have to do that. Why don't I give a speech later in February? A real speech. And then you give me feedback on what it will look like.
Okay.
So speaking of the February meetings, we typically have two, right? The 8th and the 22nd. Now, both of those are TLI dates. And I obviously didn't go to today's because I want to also do my club meetings instead.
Yeah.
So is there a problem if I don't go to a TLI?
Yes, because you're the treasurer. So we need all of our officers attending TLI so we can win our Super 7. So like I said, I'm going to the Fort Myers one, which is on February 15th. It's the only one that doesn't conflict.
Oh, I thought you said it was the 22nd.
I misspoke. I pulled up the calendar. It's the 15th. My bad. My bad. It's the 15th.
Okay, then
Every single Saturday in February is, except for the 1st, which is Parveen's birthday, by the way, is
February 1st is her birthday?
yeah.
Okay. The 15th is a possibility. My brother arrives in town on the 8th and is here for a week. It looks like his flight might leave at 7 a.m. on the 15th. And so if I can, I'll have to either drop him off and then go. So what
We'll
time?
probably end up dropping him off at 6 if he has a 7 a.m. flight.
What time do you plan on leaving for Fort Myers?
About 6:37.
Okay, if we could figure that out, then I could go to the one on the 15th with you.
Yeah, I think that that would make sense.
All right, then John Paul and I can both practice our speeches on the 8th and the 22nd.
Yes.
How's that sound, John Paul? I gotta write one.
Yeah, but certainly practice them, that's for sure. And get some feedback.
Yeah, but the idea is not necessarily that we give our contest speeches then. It's just practicing to give a stand-up speech in front of a camera.
Ah, okay. All right. So we won't give away our secret sauce speech. We'll do a different speech.
Well, up to you. I
might want, on the 8th, maybe I'll do the practice standing up one if we're going to have an in-person one on that day. Do you think we're going to have an in-person one on the 8th? Or was that another virtual one?
The ones that conflict with TLIs are going to have to be virtual.
Okay, so the 8th is going to be virtual and the 22nd that also has to be virtual.
Yeah, because I believe Jeanette and Parveen and Brenda are going to all the TLIs, which only leaves Mike, but Mike said he's more of a virtual member than an in-person member. So in room, that really only in Beverly's a virtual member, John Paul's a virtual member, so that really only leaves you and me, Cathy. So to go and I don't think it's worth it setting up a room for just the two of us. And we talked about at our next officers meeting to come up with a base for, and I think you're a part of this conversation, I'm not sure, but how the minimum number of members present that we need to hold an in-person meeting, because it is a lot of work setting up that room. You know, and there's a lot of driving. For some of us, it's an hour each way to get there. So we need a vote at the next board meeting. You know, what is that minimum threshold? And I think it's around 3 or 4.
So the question being then, since there's a TLI on the 22nd and on the 8th, then our contest is on the 14th of March. We wouldn't have an in-person meeting to practice a stand-up one in our normal location until our contest day.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm only competing against John Paul and he doesn't have that advantage either, I guess I'm gonna have to go with it.
Well, you're competing against Zan too, because Zan can compete at the club level, so we have 3 contestants.
Oh, okay, okay. He just can't go to the April one.
Correct.
All right, so he'll be then competing also on the 14th. Are we gonna have a virtual location or a stand-up location?
Well, that one we should have 100% member attendance. that should be the first meeting of the year that will have 100% attendance. So I think that one needs to be I think both marches, I expect everyone to be in person.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have both marches, and then April, I expect to be typical meetings. And then May, we yeah, May will be too, because May is our elections. So we will have our conference the first weekend in May, and the very next weekend is our meeting, and then we need to have officer elections.
Are we gonna pick up the conversation about moving our location, our physical location, like we had tossed around?
Yeah, we need to talk about that we haven't had a board meeting in, I think, a month or two, and that's been sitting there on the agenda to talk about, because I think we talked about moving it, alternating the hospital and maybe the Scientology room that we were in, because that's closer. I think that's closer to a lot of us.
Yeah, because we need to get more members in the group too, because we've got dues coming up not too far from now, and we've got to think about that and getting more members.
Well, so then one of the other things we need to do, so if we use our March meeting, our March contest as like an open house, right? Then, hold on. Let me pull up the sign up sheet. There's something else I need to put on here too. Hold on. The area, let me see. March 28th, okay. We're going to be hosting, okay, so the March 14th is our club contest. We're going to use that kind of like as an invited open house, right?
And then that was for sure going to be at the hospital and not at Scientology?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
We can talk about that later. Then March 28th, the second meeting in March, we're hosting the Area 22 Council before Smedley. So all of those people that will be attending that will be guests at Smedley. So that's another open house opportunity. Then on April 4th, April 11th. So either the March 28th or the April 11th, I'd like to host a president's open house where we invite all the presidents of the district to attend our club as a guest for an open house.
On what dates?
Okay. So we've got March 14th is our contest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little open house. Then March 28th is our area where we're hosting Area 22 before our meeting. They're going to have a council meeting of the area presidents and other officers. And Jean, it wants it at our place to encourage them to stay as guests as an open house to our meeting.
What time is that going to start?
The council meeting will be at 9.
Okay.
And then we'll have our meeting at 10:30. So our meeting, Alexa, stop. So our meeting that we're having at 10:30, since we already have guests as an open house, we can also use it as our president's open house as well. And the idea behind the president's open house is that we invite all the presidents of our district to join, and then all of our table topics relate to poking fun of what it's really like to be a president of a club type of thing. Kind of make it presidential in a Toastmastery sense, if that makes sense. And so then they can get the word out. That would enable them to get the word out to other people. Now, Jean-Paul had another idea, which I think is really interesting. I think it happened before you got on the call, is I downloaded a list of everyone that has received an education award in our district. It's publicly available in the report center of Toastmasters. So he guided me to downloading that report. So anybody that received a level 2 or above award, we need to invite as guests into Smedley and saying, congratulations on your award. You are now eligible to participate in our club. We would love to have you see what it's like. You can join from home or in person or what have you. And so if we have these other meetings set up, we can invite them to the April meetings. If that makes sense.
And you said the April meeting is going to be when?
My throat is so dry. The April meetings are the 11th and the 25th.
And which one of them or both would be the?
I would invite people to both and give them a choice, because those are the last meetings before, that would also be during the, what do they call it? The roundup, the member roundup, where you try to get membership, boost your membership.
Oh, tick clock or whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever, beat the clock or something. Yeah, beat the clock. So that way that can be our push for new members. And hopefully if we get enough new members that are interested, we could have a group of officers to vote on in May. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just would add that if we're fine with sticking with the hospital, then we'll just plan on it. But if we're still considering,
No, I think we should. But in April, I think in May we need to stick. I'm sorry. In March we need to stick with the hospital for the contest in the area 22, because that's already being promoted. But in April, we can start doing the switching back and forth between the hospital and Scientology.
okay, so then
We send out the invites. That gives people 2 dates and 2 locations to choose from.
So then do we need to confirm with the Scientology place either for the 11th or the 25th of April?
Yeah, I would need to do that.
Okay. All right. When do you plan on having our next board meeting?
So our next board meeting is scheduled for
13th?
no, February.
I have the 13th.
It's before the first meeting of the month. So I don't know if we're doing them on Wednesdays or what were we doing on Wednesdays or Thursdays?
I have it in my calendar as Thursday the 13th.
No, that's not right, because it's like 2 days before our first meeting of the month. So you probably put it down as the second Thursday, and it kind of messed a little bit with you on that.
If it's the second Thursday, I will not be able to participate.
No. It's not the second Thursday. It's always right before the first meeting of the month. So
When you say before the first meeting of the month, so in February, the first meeting of the month is the 8th, so then it would be the 6th. On a Thursday?
Yeah, that's what
Hello, sorry to interrupt. This is Jean-Paul.
Yep.
I think I know about March 14th, and I know, well, for me, every meeting is virtual, but
Yeah.
March 14th is the contest. I commit to that.
Yes.
And then I'll practice. I'll have a speech in February to practice so that you can also see what it's like to judge somebody via kind of camera, stand-up camera thing, whether it will make sense. Or I'll do it anyway, but I can myself understand how it is perceived and experienced. But I'm going to say goodbye. I think you're
Sure.
now talking about your logistics as,
Yes.
as officers.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Thank you, John Paul.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good seeing
Bye.
you in person.
Yeah. One day.
Well, I saw you on, I had contact with you via the internet. That's in person. That's just not a voice.
You're right. We have contact. I think that's an ET reference, right?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, so Kathy, I think our first board meeting would be scheduled for February 6th, our next board meeting.
Yeah, and that's going to be unfortunate because I can't attend then. I will be either driving back from the other coast of Florida or still on the other coast of Florida.
Well, that's what we have scheduled. There's nothing special about the February 8th meeting or the 22nd because they're all virtual. So I will put it out to the board. To vote on attending either the 6th or the 13th and see who we get the most responses from.
Did you say you couldn't do the 13th, Beverly?
Yes, I have a LADEC meeting.
Okay, and I can't do the 6th. Is it only on a Thursday that's a possibility?
It's only on the second Thursday of every other month.
I mean, I can put out, whatever dates you guys want me to put out there and see what people can come back with. I mean, I could do, if you want me to put out the Wednesdays, the 5th and the 12th, I can just see what people come back with.
I can do either. I can do any Wednesday.
I can do the 12th. I can't do the 5th again because I'm going to be down in the other coast of Florida that 4th, 5th, and 6th. So yeah, whatever you can figure out so that we can move some decision making forward and talk about all of this as a group.
On the 5th, we have an Area 22 evening WebEx, but that's not till 6. That's at 6, so we could do a Smedley at 7.
I can't do the 5th period.
Okay. Okay, I'll put it out there and see what people come back with.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
All right. Have a great week. See you
Have a good day.
See you in 2 weeks, and Laurean, I will let you know about the 15th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll get you through those receipts and stuff too. I saw your email.
Good. Okay, bye-bye.
Good to see you, lovely.